All right, now this is just a disclaimer here, and that this is called improv, so it's building up a comedy routine that I'm working on because it's a way of dealing through trauma, and it's a way of looking at the funnier side of life sometimes, especially when things are extremely dark. And so it's a theater performance. So take everything said here with a grain of salt. This is not the opinion of the establishment. This is not something that should be misinterpreted by anyone. Because if it's based on historical figures, it's very loosely based. So any associations that you might make with people living or dead is just part of the routine. Because this is an experimental thing. I mean, this is obviously not a production grade studio. This is just my point of view. So if it is beneficial to you, if it's entertaining for you, if you do find value in it, I'm greatly satisfied knowing that somewhere, like, again, audiences are rare. Some people don't like comedy. Some people hate real comedy. Some people just they want to shut down venues just left and right because they don't like how jokes are told. So this could get canceled. Okay, that happens. It's happened to much funnier people than me. Believe me, I'm not even close to funny. So if you feel you're getting bored halfway in, if you need to just tap out and listen to some classical music instead, do it. Don't let me work yourself up in any way because I'm working through these issues, which is why it's improv comedy. Now back to the program. All right. Welcome back to a new edition of Improv Comedy. It's all about improv, it's all about comedy. So let's get into it, shall we? So there was this story today about the subverted Eurovision song contest, sorry. And see, that's a big cultural event. And see, this is the thing, it's very political because the countries have to represent themselves. It's like the Cultural Olympics. So, of course, it's about sabotage. Of course. You can't be the best country in the world when you've got countries like Ukraine and Finland and Poland and a lot of Eastern European countries that have not been completely trashed like Western um, democracies have. And of course, the tyrants of the East, they can't afford to look bad. How can that be? They control everything and run everything with impunity. Why can't they be the most talented? So think in terms of despotism. These are despots. They watch TV too. And the country that belongs to them. So it has to be the best. Otherwise, um, they're gonna wake up cranky, and then maybe a couple of their butt kissing minions might have their heads rolled. And these people have armies of butt kissing minions, yes men. Like, this is how this whole war in Ukraine started. They were subverting Ukraine from day one with every different type of method. So it was like a confluence. Really, Ukraine is so great. It's right. The name literally means the border, the borderlands. So you had every lunatic from the West coming trying to mess it up. Um, and then you had the people from the East trying to mess it up too. By, how about this, supporting the messed up people in the West. So, oh, okay, Ukrainians, you want a West? We'll send you a West. And they found the sleaziest dirtbags they could find possibly, in these pits of inequity like New York City or Los Angeles or London, Paris. Where did they find these lunatics? They're there. And then okay, so let's bring these people in as advisors. talent scouts. So they do auditions, and then they get, let's say, 1,000 acts, like 1,000 starving artists that are working in like shoe factories that can sing like unbelievable songs and do everything known to man. They don't pick them though. They pick the program, the subversive program, which is, how about this? They don't like national solidarity. They don't. Bankers don't like it, and then let's expand that to the financial sector as a whole. And the corrupt legal system doesn't like it. Because, see, their main fear that keeps them up at night every day is the political situation. Because and again, despots in the East, they know what impunity is. So they get the political power, guess what? All the courts are theirs. All the money is theirs. Remember that grotesque video conference where Putin finally called one of the Russian oligarchs, one of these oil tricksters, and he said there was some type of showdown, and then the oligarch ended up being arrested in a show trial. That's how these billionaires are all oligarchs. They're sitting around that big white table, and they've got the head criminal that is running the political system. And they are subordinate to politics. They only have that position. They're on that little magical chair thanks to the politics. So the Western model is rotten politics. They want corrupt people, they want numbnuts, they want diversity. That's it. They want a diversity, people from everywhere, because it's not a country, it's a concept. So of course the people that are being run into the ground don't have a say, because we're going to mandate that 50 people that don't belong are in the room and in the TV and in the sports and in the culture at all times. If there's people that don't belong, if there are not people that don't belong, it's some type of horrible thing. Now see, again, not from the standpoint of the people, not from the standpoint of national solidarity, not from the standpoint of legitimate politics and culture, but from the standpoint of robber barons, people that are afraid of national solidarity, because then they're put on the table. Okay, where were you sending money again? Why are you taking all this money from the drug trade, for example? Like, where these people are refining heroin around the world. This whole family is known. So why are you laundering it through your banks? Like that's like the phone call they dread, because right there they could be put in front of a court, and if they're lucky, they'll be in prison for life. So it's that quick. They know how illegitimate their positions are in society, and also because they belong to an obsolete class. Back before there were computers, sending digits from A to B and saying this guy is entitled to this number of dollars or whatever the monetary currency was, that was a very difficult and important and complicated operation. With computers, it's not. They're completely obsolete. And yet, we slaves, all working for money, they're more or less gods amongst us. So they don't want no damn national solidarity anywhere. How about this? Anywhere in the West, they don't want any. They want to export their model of rotten politics, where they control. They have the puppets doing their bidding. Like, oh, there was an investigation into drug laundering. Make sure you make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Thanks. Click. They don't. Their MPs and lawyers in Parliament and whatnot, if they don't stop that bill, all hell will break loose. And again, what these people are not limited by morality at all. These people are immoral and extreme. They're the definition of theft. Like they are the personification of theft on a massive scale. Wealth theft. You don't believe me, you go to cities like Detroit where it was unbelievably progressive, advanced technologically in every other way. Henry Ford, for example, he was one of the first idiot capitalists that decided, what's really important about this operation is the workers. So let me make sure they can afford what they're producing. It baffled the robber barons. Like, oh, what? See, they're coming from this feudal mindset, like the landlords, the rent-seeking, stupid, incompetent, despotic inheritance of a shakedown operation that it's best when the peasants just keep working and don't challenge me on anything. That's the best way. And it's best when their nose is real close to the dirt. That's this old feudal mindset, which oddly enough is still in Russia. You've got a completely new set of criminals there, right? Completely new despotic system. Same mentality. Keep the people's faces in the dirt. Which is not modern. That's that's a barbarian concept. So we've got billionaires with barbarian concepts and no morality and no accountability, and you can't vote them out because they're keeping that political situation on wrap. They want to know who's running what. There's a mayor that said what? Like what? They've got all these little rhetorical landmines. If anybody steps on them, they fail the compliance test. The media machine, they get 5 public relations companies at once running on some ridiculous issue, making it the thing. Especially if they can combine it with lawfare operations. Oh yeah, they will pay lawyers to do the most obnoxious things. Like this is one of the things that came out recently. There was a research company, like a journalist, a Russian journalist, a company called Bellingcat in the UK that published this information on oligarchs. Well, the next day the oligarchs got onto their most high-powered UK law firm, and they sent this journalist like a 500-page document that they needed to defend themselves in court about or go to jail or something like that. Some type of defamation case. Well, why was that case dropped? Because the story got out. The public, like some person, like I don't know, maybe a general or somebody doing something important for national security, or maybe it was even a bus driver. Bus drivers are important people. You got to get to work in the morning and the bus ain't there, you're SOL. Bus driver reads that article, doesn't look good for the shakedown operation. It doesn't look really, the credibility takes a hit, doesn't it? Like, and then they're like, oh Jesus, the credibility on our credibility, it's not good for the cartel to take this type of hit on credibility. So we're going to drop you. They get a call from some other ghoul, some other goon that heard the bus driver talking about it, or no, they don't even get near the bus driver. So I mean, where do these people even live? Where are they hanging out? Who are they talking to? Not very normal people, believe me. Somehow they get wind of it. Maybe one of their butt kissers shows up, like, sir, there's been a scandal, and I think we should do this and not let these people pursue this case to the bitter end, when they finally take the journalists and throw them in jail after they've lost every damn penny. Because that was the plan, okay? That was the plan. And they had the resources to do it because they got friends in the oil refining business with deep pockets like this, like straight down to hell type of deep pockets that can pump out of the ground and throw. Oh, that case ends, new case on this. Call up some ex-floozy that this person was dealing with, and let's get some type of other charges on them. Make them look real bad. Something like that. These people have no morals. It's power politics, and they've got money, and this is how they use it. And that's if they're going to do it that way and not the other way. So what we have in the West is a lot of political farces. That, again, going back to the lost 30 years, this is how it's going to be defined. So it was a time of political farce. It was a time of them trying to expand the enterprise under the guise of Western democracies, by the way, that inadvertently were funded by Eastern despots the whole time, because these people are also interconnected. They like doing deals like this. Like, who do you think are sitting on both sides of that oil game? The pumpers, the shippers, the refiners, and the distributors. Like, all those people, they know each other. They show up at places like OPEC, and they got their private security details that are as big as some national armies of civilians, by the way, walking around doing shopping for new watches and all these things, because they're in with the despot. And yeah, what keeps them up at night is politics. Now, this is where some people would say, all right, that's not surprising. That doesn't mean we have to accept it. Again, revolution and dignity shows us the way forward. This is how you can get these people to compromise. They're leveraged. They're sitting on a one-legged stool straight up in the stars. That's how high up they are. They can fall real easy, and that's why they know it. That's why they're so proactive. They're always thinking, like, what could be the thing? Well, national solidarity, that's a principle. So they want to trash national solidarity, and they want to do it in a lot of creative, subversive, and really disgusting ways, because they don't care about the people. They care about continuing their shakedown regime, where they are not voted in and they're not questioned. Like I said, a political committee comes knocking on their door, says, well, why are you laundering all this drug money? They don't want to have that conversation. They're dreading that conversation. They want somebody doing nothing in the position that will never, ever, ever darken their doors, ever. For any nonsense. If they do, it's bringing some type of gift. Like, oh, hi, boss, here's, I don't know, some ballerina's legs that I thought you would like, because we know you're that type of person. So yeah, national solidarity. What's the other thing? Morality. You have a moral society, again, then people come together, they make the right political decisions for themselves, they start asking the right questions. They don't want those people around. Those people terrify them. And they can only believe that they're the head honchos of the world as long as they're not given legitimate questions by legitimate people. So that's the type of mental space that they're in. And this is, the money flows, it's a trickle-down economy, right? So it trickles down, and then they've got, oddly enough, bottom feeders that are taking the money. And they want those bottom feeders at the top, because that's what keeps political movements from snowballing into national movements that get things done. Like, for example, redefining the financial sector, or redefining it out of existence. All the Ponzi schemes and all the banks that nobody needs anymore, thanks to technology. So, and yeah, when that goes away, when that pool of influence dries up, like the Gobi Desert, then guess what? The whole legal system, especially when that's redefined and re-architected, they have no power. They have no influence. They have nothing. They got to go to work like everybody else and try to find a job with those types of personality characteristics that they have, which are off-putting in the extreme. So people, this is the thing, this is the wonderful thing about information that they try to suppress. Every day they've got algos going, did somebody talk about national solidarity instead of running ourselves into the ground with nonsensical social programs? Then that person, cancel that person. That's how they're doing it. So that gives the public the impression that there is no alternative viewpoints. That, oh, we have 10 bad viewpoints. That's it. We canceled 50. But that nobody learns about that because we got our big tech programs connecting people all around the world, right? Connecting them to you. You better best believe if these people are working for organizations like that. You don't want to know these people. And this is another thing. It's so tragic. Young people think that we're living in legitimate times, and so they try to impress themselves upon people that they think deserve the positions that they have when they don't. It's a big farce. Which again, one of the most tragic things is these Ukrainians thinking, oh yes, we got free from the Soviet Union, let's just do whatever we got to do to be successful in the West, and they run into this inverted talent contest that the West is propagating. And so, no, I think it's really fascinating to look at the disgusting political landscape in Ukraine before the war and how it's sort of trying to do damage control during the war. But I think that if people start having some new ideas, start seeing things for what they really are and who it is and who's behind it, and maybe we can do things a whole hell of a lot differently without even engaging these people, just dismissing them as one should, but also being cynical enough to see where they're operating, because they do signal, they absolutely do, and so you can see it, and then you can act appropriately once you plug into the paradigm that they're operating in. You can go different ways. You can go a lot better ways, believe me. You just stop wasting your time with these people, but do start identifying them. That's not a waste of time. And then again, what should come after it? Not a new despotism. No, that's fake opposition. You could just let the Russians in right now and let that happen if you wanted to. Then you're going to get national solidarity, right? See, they have the other. It's a fake national solidarity. Like, the national solidarity is exactly what we say. There's one or two or three people. And if you're off key, off to the labor camp, off to a filtration camp, off to a re-education camp. Doesn't happen. It's just China does it all the time. You're not reporting on it because these billionaires, these people who think that they have a lot in common, and in a way they do because they're criminals. You don't think that they know about that? You don't think that the business isn't more important to them than civil liberties? Well, you're thinking like you and not like them. They don't think like you. Again, naive people, stop projecting your values on criminals and idiots. They're not like you. They pretend to be like you. This is the con. This is where they get their sense of superiority. Okay, I know this person thinks this, so I'm going to just play pretend, and then I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And it's going to be all about me at the end. So disengage from these fools. And the Eurovision Sound Contest is a great place for cultural security experts. Just go through every one of those damn acts since 1990 and see how some countries have been totally gutted in the cultural fields, because it is an indication. And then think about corrupt organizations like FIFA. Oh, Corrupt organizations like the Olympic Committee. Oh, corrupt organizations like just fill in the blank. People working for money, and then the ideological conformity that these billionaires put on them. So it's really, they're giving you two false choices. You either have a subverted political and cultural landscape where they can do anything they want with impunity as a class, more or less, or you get the despotic version, which is we have a fake national unity. And if you say anything off key, it's off to the pokey for you. So where is civil society? Civil society is somewhere in between where the moral people are, the real moral people, not the dogmatic moralists. See, they like to mischaracterize moral people. They do, because they hate moral people. If they were moral, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Okay, they don't like people who are moral. So they always depict moral people as these dogmatists, these people, the bigots, right? And this is not, they use, here's the other thing, these despots, they use moral bigotry. You know, Russian Orthodox Church, we're so freaking holy, and they're so corrupt, because look at their Eurovision sound contest, that the whole team is run by agents of subversion, depicting Ukraine as a gutter. So let's murder them all. We're justified by God. This is that. That's they've done it. They're on tape. They've been busted. It's just, it hasn't seeped into the general consciousness yet. Like, is that possible? Yeah, of course it's possible. This is the crap game these people are playing. It stinks. Stinks. So Ukraine, hell no. With all the dead people screaming out from the ground right now, you're going to accept corrupt political institutions, corrupt people, lawyers. Again, their courts don't work. These are the lawyers of the courts that have now used a corrupt political system to make themselves politicians. Who the hell are they working for, do you think? They're part of the problem. They gotta all go. The past was not good. Also, the future of what? National disunity is what the result is of their cultural programs. That's not a good future for anyone but billionaires. It's a minority viewpoint. And how can you say it's a democracy when the minority viewpoint is the only viewpoint that is allowed in a political arena, in a cultural arena? What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But see, they'll come say, oh, you're seeing things, you're paranoid. But look at these absolutely disgusting cultural displays that they celebrate. That you could take a pygmy out of the jungle and show them these programs, and they would think that they're looking at like a horror movie. But no, they've been so educated. They see the genius of it, the maniacal genius of it. They're on board. They love it. Here, throw this whole bucket of diarrhea into the eyes of millions and millions of viewers. Isn't that amazing? The power of malfeasance. These people get a hard on that. And then, of course, yeah, like I said, the acts they pick, they're not the most talented. They're the most corrupt and subverted. That's it. That's how they planned it. Because this dictator they don't want that country to beat them out in international rankings. That's unacceptable, period. That's what they say. Mandate from hell comes down to the, more or less, think of them as like corporate butt kissers, because that's the Eastern despotic equivalent. They're government hacks. They're somehow connected to the government, but they're able to operate in foreign countries because they're so damn sophisticated. Like these dumbass diplomats we have on the Western side. They're sort of interconnected. Oh, I'm an academician, so I've got this position and I'm well liked by the despot, and that's why I can operate here. But I'm undercover. So where's the talented people here that I can find? Oh no, you sing like an angel. You're not getting it. But oh, by the way, I've got the casting couch in the back. I can throw you a couple bucks every now and again. These people get access to talented young people. It's a gigantic crime. And I think, again, using certain cultural security keywords, these people could get a minimum of 3 years in prison for their cultural activities. And depending on how many people, how viral their pathogens became, life sentences should become common in the future, if not something even more extreme, especially given the situation in Ukraine. Every single one of those deaths can be attributed to them in some form or another. So as far as Ukrainians go, don't take off the helmet. Don't put away anything. Keep everything real tight. Because again, this is not going away. I really like the idea that the Ukrainians know also, if you do look into your history, this is a 1,000-year war. Think of it that way. Probably even older than that. Keep your kit together. Don't be walking around here like one of these ragamuffins. Think that everything's hunky-dory and, oh, it doesn't matter that politics are corrupt and attacking national unity, importing people all around the world to create social division. Social division, just take all the rancor out of it, all the hatefulness. Does it promote social division? Yes or no? If it does, it's bad. People who promote it, bad. Don't got to go further than that. Simplify things. They like to throw sophist concepts and rhetorical things. They like to emotionalize. Nope. Keep it real simple. Thanks for listening.